Hello and welcome to the VR Untethered podcast, where we are so untethered from reality that we have Christmas ornaments all around and back of me, and it looks like a whole bunch of gummy stuff and back of Not Josh over there.
That's correct. It's a whole bunch of not Christmas stuff behind not Josh, yes.
So,
Happy
I hope you
holidays.
all had a happy Thanksgiving and you had a happy Black Friday. Is that a thing that some people wish? I don't know. We're wishing you a happy Black Friday. And a happy Cyber Monday coming up, too.
Well, if you're not already broke from Black Friday, you will become Cyber Monday. And there's Poverty Tuesday. When we all line up.
And then don't forget Small Business Saturday at the end of next week.
Yes, because you might find one or two of them open.
But only online.
Only online. Everything is online, because if you're not online on the computer, you're online on a line for a COVID test or for fast food or for. So.
No, I was going to say, if you're not online, you're not on.
Okay. You could say that. You did say that.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Let's jump right into the highlights. Any highlights for you?
No, not really many highlights this week. I have to say I was really hoping for a major Black Friday sale. I was hoping for Facebookulous to change the game. And they put my library on sale for 30% off. So, I'm disappointed in their Black Friday sale. How about you, Josh?
A little bit. Let me close the invisible door behind me. My son came in and whispered in my ear behind me. I don't know if that got caught on the camera or not, but
just a little bit. People were wondering what that was. Yeah.
They're like, what happened to his head? So yeah, I'm glad that there is a Black Friday sale. I would agree that it's not quite as spectacular as I was hoping, because on the Rift store, as we all know, and on Steam, things tend to be half off, 70% off, 80% off, 60%. But on the Quest store, the biggest sales are only ever 20% off.
20% off, and only on the older games.
Yes.
And if you want any of the newer games, they're bundled.
It's better than nothing. And if you can save a couple dollars on a game that you don't already have, or if you want to take advantage of the new ability to buy games for other people, and you want to save a few dollars on buying a game for somebody else, then it's not horrible. It's just not what we all want, which is a little bit bigger sales.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. They just weren't very motivating, and also it was disappointing to see virtually everything I've ever bought for full price on sale.
And then you haven't played yet.
I know. It's like, wait, I bought this at 20% off thinking it was good. Now it's 30% off and I still haven't played it. Do I get my extra 10 or?
No.
Nah, I didn't think so.
It is too late. It's too late. You have it. You can't get money back for it now, no.
All right, then, I'll just live with it. What can I do? But yeah, I think that really it almost should have been on everything. It should have been like everybody else was doing, percentage off the store or...
Right. They do have a couple packs, a fitness pack and an action pack that are slightly bigger discounts, but
yeah,
those are fairly high-priced packs.
Well, really, the action pack for me says already purchased. So,
right.
And the other packs that they had yesterday, because there were 5 packs yesterday, they were all basically $20 because I owned every game except for one.
Right.
So, Like I said, there's maybe one or two that are somewhat interesting, but not that have been adopted really wonderfully by the community.
Right. Now, one thing that is not included in the sale is Beat Saber. It's still not
Amazing.
included in the sale. Imagine
Right.
that.
Synth Riders, they had a good sale
Yep.
going, and
Yep. Synth Riders, Audica, yep.
yeah,
But,
nothing on top one.
yeah. But not Beat Saber
Not
because they sell consistently whether they go on sale or not. So,
right, and it is a great game. I mean, you can't put it down. It is a very good game, and it's
right.
a fun game, and anybody can play it. And
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
meanwhile, I keep reading about these problems with some of these 90 hertz games that they're dropping frames at the 90 hertz.
Well, that's probably the real reason Carmack made the comment that he did about
120.
don't shoot for, the, um, you keep in mind that you need that extra buffer for stuff, basically.
Right.
So
So
like shoot for 88 frames instead of 90, or something.
I know it's kind of crazy though.
Yeah.
I don't know. So some of the stuff is, I'm getting ready to play a couple of games, and as I'm getting ready to jump in, I read about the bug, the bug. And it was like Pop One the other day. I was getting ready to jump in, and everybody was getting bumped out. It was like,
Right. Well, you just have bad timing.
my timing is my timing. That's the problem. That's the problem with VR. I had mentioned that a couple of years ago. Is VR time doesn't exist. We're still in our own time zones.
Right.
And,
Well, no, I
uh,
mean that you have bad timing. It's like bad luck. Your timing is bad. You go to play something when there is something bad happening.
Well, yeah, it is, and I shouldn't read everything. I shouldn't pay
Oh,
attention to everything I read, But I've been reading about so many kids in Pop One lately that everybody's like, don't even bother going on until midnight.
well, I can't go on it, but much of them might want to. I can't really go on at midnight. Because I still got to wake up, help my wife get to work, and all that stuff.
Right. If you
So,
have a regular life, you might want to jump in at 7 at night or 4 in the afternoon as opposed to midnight when you
yep.
might not have the best reflexes either. I mean, you're playing Pop
Sure.
One.
Well,
This is
who
not a
knows?
game.
Maybe that would help. Say kind of like a drunken the kung fu master. And win all your fights.
I was just thinking of when Jackie Lee did that.
So, anyways, moving on from your lowlights,
Yeah.
I do have some highlights.
Go ahead.
But we'll
I'm
talk
sorry.
phone call.
Yeah, I just had to take that phone call off. If it tries coming through again, I'll have to send them a little message.
Okay. Um, so my highlights of the week were I finally got to watch the Wolves in the Walls short. I had it for free because I had added it to my library on Rift while it was free way back when, and it was evidently cross-buy, so I already owned it.
Which is nice when
Yeah,
that happens.
yeah. So, and it's well done. You can tell that it's an older title, though. I mean, I knew that it wasn't a room scale, just moving around necessarily. It's just stand in one spot, no locomotion. I mean, you can move around. It's not going to break the game, but um, but it only uses like the grip and the trigger. It doesn't really register if you have your thumb on the new capacitive thumb rest. Only
Okay,
if it's on one of the A or B or whatever buttons.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
it's designed without a thumb rest in mind, so you can tell here and there that it's with older design principles.
Right.
But
And did you enjoy
it's
it?
very well done. It's a good story. My wife watching a gameplay of it on YouTube, so thought that it was sort of too scary. But she's a little bit more sensitive to that than I am.
Okay. Never really struck me as being that scary, but okay.
Well, it's a part where you and the little girl or Lucy are standing. You have gone back in the house after the wolves and whatnot, and you're up in the attic or whatever, and there's the double doors in front of you, and then the lights start going off in the hallway, and the darkness goes, and that's the part that my wife said, "Oh, that's a little scary." So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, little doesn't really sound as scary as Saints and Sinners, but
No. Well, that's more gross.
That's just it. Is after I had read one of our Discord administrators' review of this game that he is entranced with, I will say that he seemed to be having some psychological impact from the character's plight in this story of a world gone to the zombies. And I don't really know how good that is for somebody to have to make psychological decisions while removing your well-embedded cleaver from this human skull.
Right. That's one thing that I've always been a little bit about Asgard's Wrath with as well. It's got that, it can get stuck in the holes and whatnot, and it's a little bit on the brutal side,
Right. I just got my Okie dokie that my Asgard's Wrath was put into my library, so
nice. I haven't done that yet, but I probably will shortly, and then I'll have to get a new SSD drive to be able to download it.
Right. I know. It's ridiculous how big it is. It really is. And it's, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to playing it at some point when I know I'll be near my computer for a while, because obviously that isn't going on the Quest. So.
Right. Yeah. And I was going to say another part of my highlight, contrary to what a lot of the YouTubers have been saying, was Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. That was a highlight when I played it, because it was fun. And yeah, I can see the criticism that is aimed at people that are new to VR and whatnot, but so what? What's wrong with that?
Nothing, as long as it doesn't take you back to first steps, you're fine.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, they were in love with first steps, and that definitely for people that are new to VR.
Right. Well, but with Star Wars, we've already done the Vader Immortal thing.
Right. Well, I've only watched it on YouTube, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I've played it, and it was great. It really was. And this I still haven't played through. I've never played more than a minute or two of it, because I want to experience it for at least an hour or two at a time. I don't want to do this in 5-minute segments.
Right.
And I really it's just that Star Wars gets people. I mean, just start talking about any of the trilogies or the sequels or any of those, and you're going to get into craziness. So people have expectations from Star Wars
that are maybe unrealistic.
Well, it's like I was reading yesterday, Squadrons is on sale on all the other platforms for like $17 right now.
Right.
But the write-ups were like, okay, it's nice, it's pretty. Right. Nothing new, nothing special. If you want to play Star Wars, it's okay.
There's been so many Star Wars games that I'm not really sure what new they can do.
New is better graphics, different weapons.
Yeah.
What
different characters. You know,
Right.
do a sideline thing as opposed to main story stuff, and yeah.
Well, that's how Star Wars is going now. Now that Disney owns them, it's going to be all side stories and very few main stories. I
Mhm.
mean, just look at how The Mandalorian is doing, and that's pretty much, you know, that's not. I enjoy it, but only because it's Star Wars. It's not
Right,
because it's the best show ever made. You
right,
know,
right.
uh,
And because it's got Baby Yoda, right?
right? Exactly. You know,
Well, the child.
the child, which is going to be, I think, grown-up Yoda, the new
Well,
grown-up.
the child is gonna have a name soon, I guess, or if it does have a name, I don't know. I haven't been watching it, so we watched
Well,
the first couple episodes, and then we haven't watched any more since. So,
well, you'll notice you've never seen another species quite like Yoda,
hmm
and we've never met Mrs. Yoda or Mama Yoda. So I'm thinking it might be Genesis here, and
maybe.
you know, I don't know, but as far as you're right, as far as other people complaining about it, I just like being in Star Wars, so it's
Yeah.
great. Let them keep it up. Now I'd like them to do a Star Trek away mission, an
Right.
away mission, not on the Enterprise. Beam me down, Scotty. You know,
Right.
it's like,
Right. Yeah. Um, that'd be cool to be in a full-fledged Star Trek episode as opposed to just on the bridge. I mean, a
well,
lot of them did take place just on the ship, but a lot of them took place on the planets as well.
well, if you read the description of Star Wars Bridge Crew, it
Hmm.
does mention away missions.
Right.
And the only thing that's away about the mission is you're in a different parsec. You're not on a planet doing something, which
Right.
is away mission. You know,
Right. Right. Right.
they have a different vocabulary than I do.
Right.
So
Right. So, anyway, to move on to the last part of my highlight before the highlights expands for the whole show.
it takes over the news
um,
section.
I also got to play around with Flipside Studio, which is a uh, basically a film production studio within VR. It's got avatars you can inhabit. It's got teleprompters. It's got slideshows. It's got props. It's got the different environments you can be in. You can set up multiple cameras. You can even bring in other people and do, excuse me, a collaborative thing. So, and I had the idea of doing a Thanksgiving message with it. I didn't get around to it till later in the day on Thanksgiving itself. I had too much going on because this was honestly our first time doing a Thanksgiving ourselves. So we spent much of the day preparing and cooking and all that stuff and clearing off the table so that we could use the table instead of having it be a storage depot.
Right.
So
Understood.
I didn't get around to actually doing it until the end of the day, and I had to make sure that my son wasn't on his iPad because then that would have been picked up at the camera or up at the microphone. And
It came out well, though. I did see it and I liked it. I thought
yeah,
that it seems like a great program, to be honest with you.
yeah, it's got its issues. The teleporting is a little bit buggy. You have to press the forward on your right thumbstick and then move it around and then pull the trigger when it's where you want to go. But half the time I'd be pulling it around and there'd be no the teleport marker, or it'd be right at my feet. So
Okay.
it kind of makes it hard to teleport if I'm just teleporting to where I already am.
Yes, I could see that being okay. Uh,
So, um, but yeah, it's outside of those, so a couple bugs there. It works pretty well. It gives you a lot of tools. You can upload your own models, your own environments, your own characters, your own props. So I did notice that the text that I put into the teleprompter wasn't all there. Had left out a couple words and had left out the very last line I said, but fortunately I remembered the last line I wanted to have, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Okay, but yeah, it's nice to know that they have those things people should watch out for.
Mm-hmm. And it's free.
Which is the best price you could pay for something that's funny.
Yep. Yeah. It's on Steam and it's on Oculus Store, not Oculus Quest, just Oculus PC stuff. So, yeah. Now that they've discontinued Rift, so basically, are we just calling it Oculus PC, or are we just calling it Oculus, or
they're just calling it your Oculus PC library.
Okay, that works.
When they put Asgard's Wrath, that's how they refer to it. We put Asgard's Wrath into your Oculus PC library.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the way they're referring to it. So that's the way I'll refer to it.
Okay, it worked for me.
Right, there you go.
Right. Moving on to our new releases. I don't think we had anything new come out this week on the Quest. The most recent thing was Galaxy's Edge and Wolves and the Walls. So, but we had Hinge come out finally on Steam. And it's getting some negativity in the reviews on it because I didn't notice this in the gameplay that I watched that upload to put up there, but in their review of it, they were commenting how their machine was struggling to run it, and things were loading in like a few seconds after they entered a room, and it had frame rate issues, and it was going like a 5 frames a second or something. Like, I didn't notice any of that in the video, but okay. But the article also mentioned they were basing the article on a demo of it.
Okay.
So I haven't watched or seen a review of the actual full game yet. So,
right.
And the demo part they were doing in the video was a little confusing because they threw them in media res, so they had no clue what was going on, what they were supposed to be doing. Just opening up doors, random things happening, and you can go back to your safe area by putting a cigarette in your mouth because it's 1920s, so.
What's in those cigarettes?
I don't know.
I was gonna say I don't think they sold cigarettes like that in the 20s that were. But anyway, that's a
teleporting cigarettes.
Exactly. So all of a sudden I'm reminded of Discovery and Star Trek, but that's a whole other part of the show. So anyway, but transporting cigarettes, that's an interesting one. I thought eating a banana in Pop 1 to gain your strength back was unique.
Yeah. The other thing that I noticed that could be good, could be horrible, depending on the person and the timing, but your character has a voice actor. Which is, I mean, it worked in Half-Life Alyx. In my opinion, it did not really work in Tarzan, from what I saw, because it seemed to be random and whatnot, And in this one, it sounds like it might work, but I don't know, because I don't know. I haven't actually played it yet, so
right.
Well,
the only time I ever did voice
pops up and it talks in a little bit of a country-ish accent, but also trying to set down like a 1920s style of talking. So like a 1920s Southern accent, I guess. I don't know.
Williams, we in summer and smoke.
No, maybe.
Okay.
From what I saw in their gameplay, it didn't seem too Lovecraftian. It seemed more like a regular go into a place and weird things happen thing. But I don't know that they really did the best job of the gameplay. I have noticed that they don't usually make great gameplay videos, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that is the thing. It's the person playing it that does it, and it's one thing to have your voice, your character have a voice if it's talking to yourself, like, you know.
Well, yeah.
But when you're talking to other people and if that's not what you want to say to them, it's sort of going to break the immersion.
Right. And this is more thoughts to yourself, like you to pick up a picture and it might go, oh yeah, I remember this day. I wonder whatever happened to her. You know.
Right, which is fine. I mean, that's okay to have your own inner voice and they're directing you to pay attention to something. That's one thing. But, you know, if you stop and you say, hey, Joe, how's it been going? And you just want to keep walking and you're involved with an NPC.
Right.
Not so great. Yeah.
Right. And it seems like it's mostly done in the right way, subjectively speaking.
Okay.
But we'll see. Anyways, I'm still interested in playing it, but I've heard that it's supposed to come out on a Viveport a week after. So next Thursday it will be on Viveport, and that way I can risk-free.
Yeah, you know.
If there are any bugs that they need to iron out, presumably the Viveport version will still be a version behind and have those bugs.
That's you know, Viveport is a mixed blessing. It really is. It does have its great aspects, though. For trying out games, it's the best.
Yeah.
For being frustrated, it's the best as well. So
yes,
but
best all around.
Exactly. Looking for a good experience, looking for a bad experience. Where you guy?
Looking for a good bad experience?
Well,
a double thumbs up for that.
The good bad experience was at least Oculus paid attention to all of us that were going crazy over the fact that only newbies were getting Asgard. That was a good move. The first one that I've seen them do.
Section though. That's in the news section though.
No,
section. We're going to upcoming stuff now.
You're too rigid, Josh. You're too rigid. lead on, McDuff. Take us to our next section.
Well, we still have Battle Sisters coming out on December 8th. Remains to be seen if that's a great title and worth all the hype that's been around it or not. We also have a new title that I hadn't really heard of, Ven VR, that is coming to Rift on December 17th and is coming to Quest next year. And that is kind of an RPG style game, I believe. And it looks like it got some good moments to it, potentially, and we'll have to see how well it works, obviously, but it won't be on Quest until next year. So,
okay. So why'd you bring it up now?
Yeah. Have you seen anything about it? And what do you?
No, I haven't.
No. Okay.
No, I just they did mention it's an RPG style game. I didn't. It was I think it was in a Forbes article, and when it comes to VR, Forbes is not my source of information. Right. So I just sort of glanced briefly. To be honest with you, these days, even VR Upload, a lot of them seems to be hiring people that bought their VR headset last week and are now giving me their review.
Well, Upload VR is, they've got more experienced VR players. Forbes and other places, yeah, I would say yes. But I do know what you mean. So,
So I have to be careful with my source of information.
yes.
And,
The other thing about Ven is kind of like Moth in that you are your own character, but Ven is a third person point of view character that you control, but he also interacts with you.
oh, wait, is this the one that they compared to sort of like Astrobot as well? And
Maybe.
yeah, I think they said where you control a third character, but you are your own character.
Right.
But they did control. They compared it to Astrobot and another Quest game, like the two of them
Moth.
meet type of. Oh, okay. Well, that would be
Uh,
good. I love.
Maybe Ghost Giant would be another game to compare it to. I don't know.
It's so weird because Ghost Giant has such mixed. Some people seem to have been emotionally affected by it, and other people seem to have just played it and thought it was a good game. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, that's going to be the case for every game that attempts to something like that. That's the case for every story that attempts something like that. Some people are going to be able to read the story and go, "Well, that was a good story. It dealt with some serious issues. It was a good story." Other people are going to walk away from it going, so.
Right, which I don't particularly enjoy doing in VR, but And I see Arizona
Yeah, it
Sunshine.
fogs up the lenses.
It does. Well, no, the new Quest has the.
Right, had the active, yeah. So, anyways, now moving on to news. We have Asgard's Wrath that will be for free for all Quest 2 owners due to complaints about the timing, which you were alluding to just a couple minutes ago. So,
Right, exactly. You might want to get in touch with Oculus support, go under issues with software,
yeah,
start there.
supposedly there is a formula for you need to select this subject line on the Oculus support, and you might need to show a receipt of your purchase or whatever.
You will. You'll need to show your invoice or a receipt, a PDF that you'll
Right.
have to send them, and which is ridiculous because if you've already logged in and registered,
They have access to it.
They have access to it. So
yeah.
And once again, they're just making you jump through the steps. But it was pretty easy. I have to say, support got back to me right away, and within 2 or 3 days, it was in my library. So
Yeah. Personally, I think that the easiest way for them to do that would have been, hey, if you haven't already used Link, use Link, it will automatically activate it for you. If you have already used Link and you want it, now you have to jump through the hoops.
yeah, it was just I don't know. It was foolish, but at least they corrected their mistake. So I'll give them that.
Yeah.
And
moving on from that, foolish and mistakes and whatnot, Quest Black Friday sale. What are your thoughts on this amazing sale?
Well, it was a Friday, and my mood was black when I saw what was on sale and what wasn't. They just can't seem to get a sale right. I don't understand. They have just released the most popular selling VR headset of all time. Their sales, like on eSpire 1, which is a game that's gone under the radar. Only people really into this system know about it. Sold over $3.5 million worth, over 150,000 copies, and nobody even mentions that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, like, what is going on with these? It's just like Oculus could be blowing away the entire competition. If they had like a super Black Friday sale with a 30-40% off everything,
right,
they would have blown away every other VR seller from now.
Well, one thing I'm not certain about is it Oculus putting the titles on sale, or is it the developers? And if it's the developers, then maybe it's the developers that we should be, guys, what are you doing about?
Well, I mean, in one respect, you're probably right in the sense like Population 1 wasn't on sale. Some of the newer games, Saints and Sinners was not on sale. But I would think that those would be the games that should have been put on sale.
Right.
And Oculus should have eaten it, whatever it was going to be, because that
Right.
would have sold more headsets.
Yeah.
And so they would have gotten their bump, as
Yeah.
opposed to their 30% of the game price, they would have gotten the sale on a new headset.
Right.
So,
But what is the profit margin on the headset? Because if it's anything like the mobile phone market, you make money off of accessories and data, not off of the phone itself.
right. And I'm sure that they made no money on the headset
Yeah.
just because of the
So,
price of the processor at this point. So,
right.
right. I'm sure they made no money on it. But at the same token, they could have literally, they beat everybody to the processor and getting it inside of a headset. They beat
Yep.
everybody to that 90 hertz wireless.
Yep.
They could have just taken it away from everybody. This,
Yeah.
this was, and this was the weekend to do it.
Yeah.
Take everybody's money out of their pocket before anybody else could get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as we were mentioning before the show, I think it's not a horrible sale. It's definitely not the greatest, but it's not a horrible sale. It's a little bit better than it has been in years past, but it could still be a lot better. Because, like, on the Rift store, you're going to see titles that are 70% off. On the Quest store, the most you're going to see is about 30, which, depending on the title, is still a decent a, a decent discount, but that's going to bring a $30 title down to a $21 title.
Right.
Which, no, that's about 30%, but people are, I think, wanting the bigger sale that would be closer to 50% off.
Well, that is what a Black Friday sale usually is. I mean, there's enough
Right.
sales around between now and the holidays, and have been for the last month. They've been running Black Friday sales since July.
Right. So some of the places haven't. Yeah.
Well, it's, when they realized Thanksgiving wasn't coming down the way it used to,
Right.
they all went with Black Friday sales. Really started 2 months ago, and it's probably going to go
Right.
into next year. But
Yeah.
no, I didn't like their sale. I think that what they should do, really, honestly, is they should let you buy any one title for a certain discount if you buy this many games, or do something
Maybe
that's unique or
something,
innovative.
right? Or have a doorbuster where if you buy a new game during the Black Friday sale, you also get a exclusive Oculus home environment.
Right. Like Myst is going to do.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Which is great. I mean, I don't see why every game doesn't come with a home environment. It's not like
right.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not getting a box, you're not getting an inside poster, you're not getting anything you used to get when you used to have to actually buy
Right.
a disc or any physical object. They could give you a digital image that you could hang out in that
Yeah.
reminds you of their game, because it's only. You're right. It's crazy. They're stupid. I mean, they really are stupid to not just take a good graphic from their game and turn it into a room image.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like Half-Life Alyx. If you're in Steam VR, you can have the balcony opening balcony scene as your home environment.
Right. I mean,
You can have down in the streets of the city as your home environment too. So, just several different vantage points from within the game.
exactly. So why are they? I don't understand why that's not something that's common with a game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Or buy the game now and get this. Give
Right,
it for a week or two, whatever. Like
right,
every other game does. Let's give you something for being one of the first to buy it, or pre-purchase, or
right,
Black Friday, or something.
right. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah. I
okay.
mean, Oculus has enough graphic artists and 3D artists in their staff that they could quite easily come up with a environment that transitions from Thanksgiving into Christmas and have that be a virtual environment that you only get if you bought something during the Black Friday sale.
And seasonal, they could do. I mean, there's so many different things that they could
Yeah.
do that they're not
Well,
doing.
when it was on the Give Yard, they did do a seasonal thing. They changed the cherry blossom thing to a winter environment. Oh, snow instead of cherry blossoms and
Right,
whatnot. Yeah,
right. Change it to white. Ooh, there's a tough one.
right. And
Yeah,
on some of the throw pillows on the ground, they had presents and candy canes. You know, so
right. We'll get the whole swap out they just did for Cookout, some
yeah,
crazy kitty game that some of our
yeah,
friends are into, and they just turned it into a Christmas game now. It's like, what? You just went from fairy tales to a Christmas game overnight?
yeah.
So why can't
Why
other
not?
places do this? Exactly. It's just a skin. Well, when I was reading that Downward was built with all assets
You mean onward?
onward,
Yeah.
I was shocked. I really was like, are you kidding me? That entire environment was an asset? It's like,
Well, yeah. Well, I wasn't quite sure what '04 meant by that. If he meant that is an asset that's not theirs that they bought and used, or if he meant they made it available as an asset. I wasn't quite sure which way he
he
was
said
saying
he,
because he.
he saw it before Suburbia was an asset that they purchased and then turned into a map for them. Used it as a map, but it was already existed.
Right.
So,
And
um,
okay. If that's the case, as much as I love Onward, Oculus has applied a double standard then because they let Onward onto the store using repurposed assets when they will make developers wanting to get on the store have to use original assets and not repurposed.
I know. Well, that's just
So,
it. Well, Onward's been around for a while, so they
right.
might have
So they had a little
snuck
bit
in.
more clout in that, yes.
Right. They probably snuck in their grandfather clause or some, but going
Right.
forward, nobody will get allowed, because then, right, they're opening themselves up to copyright infringements and all sorts of stuff that they don't want to get into, third party
Right.
stuff.
Right. So, anyways, moving on to the next bit of news, we have here VR. Not there, but here.
Which is,
I had something open about it. It looks like I don't anymore. But basically, here VR is a. Well, here, I'll open the article while I'm talking about it. It's a short film experience, whatever you want to call it, where the house is the main character and the people in the house are the supporting cast. It there was evidently a graphic novel in 2014 by Richard McGuire, which was itself first realized in a 1989 comic strip. And it opens up in a fairly normal looking living room, but then other worlds start approaching you in the form of windows, but you quickly realize that those are just windows into the same room you are in, but at a different point in time. So your characters popping in and out of existence. You might go to the future of the house, the past of the house, going way back to before the house and the neighborhood existed and whatnot, and evidently they are using volumetric capture, presumably of the people. So it is not out yet, but it is. They are hoping that it will come out next year, I believe. So it
okay.
sounds like another one of those artsy fartsy experiences that might be good, might not be good. Only
That's
time will tell.
exactly. exactly what I was thinking when you were saying it. It's like, okay, could be great, could suck.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
can't
So
really
we'll
make
have
your
to.
judgment call.
So, something else that definitely will suck though is snorkeling. I
Huh?
saw this on Twitter this morning. It's an underwater VR experience at a, a theme park. I didn't see exactly where because it didn't have any detail. It was just a mention of it. But my guess is you are doing a VR experience underwater with a snorkel for you to be able to breathe to make it realistic.
Just
So
like shooty skies.
that will suck because you have to suck air through that straw coming out of your mouth and going up to the surface.
Okay.
I know, bad joke, right?
Uh-huh.
I've always been curious about these underwater VR experiences because they've got to create a perfect airtight seal around the headset. Otherwise, they have to buy a new one every day.
Yeah, that's not really a the underwater experience isn't for me. The only one that actually looked to me to be interesting was that Triton Down,
Hmm.
which when it comes down to $299, I'll purchase for
Right.
the
Because
20-minute
it's so short.
experience. Seriously, what did they say? 20 minutes or
Or
30
something
minutes?
like that. Yeah, it's like ridiculously short. Yeah. Really good, but ridiculously short.
Exactly.
So,
So that's, but notice that was not on the sale of Black Friday.
no, it is on the Rift store, I believe. But I think you're right. It was not on the Quest Black Friday.
No, it wasn't. And I don't know if it's cross-buy. I don't think it's cross-buy.
Yeah, I don't think it is because they had to redo it too much, I think.
So yeah, that's like, once again, we're getting down to Viveport free, Quest $50.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather play it on Viveport and get the other 9 months of free games as well.
Right, right. In other news, we have VR art coming into its own, with a piece having sold for um, around well, I can get the exact amount here. Over $380,000. A VR art piece. Or no, this was an augmented reality piece. I'm sorry. So
Uh,
that sold back in earlier this fall via Christie's, and there are five finalists that have received funding to develop new works and to showcase at the Resonant Realities exhibition at House am Luisvoplatz in the spring of 2021.
Gracias.
I'm assuming that's in Germany.
Jawohl.
So, but yeah, it's VR and AR art is becoming an actual thing that can bring artists money for it and serious money. So that's a good thing. But it's also kind of
Weird. It's
weird
very
in a way
weird.
because it's by nature kind of ephemeral, and there's going to need to be processes done if the technology changes too much and you want to bring the art with you to the new technology. You might need to contact the artist and say, hey, can you put this into the new technology? Yeah.
And if the artist created it with a Google program, then they're screwed. That
Right,
artwork is just going to eventually disappear from the face of the earth because it'll have been a Google product. So,
right. So, but yeah, I mean, at the same time, people have bought real world art that was by nature ephemeral as well. So,
well, this is
for a lot of money.
it's sort of like the emperor's new clothes. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna have something that doesn't exist unless you're wearing the right kind of glasses.
Hmm.
And if you're
Well,
not,
yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's good and bad because it is art, and artists deserve to be paid for the work. And some of them put a lot of effort and a lot of talent into these art pieces,
right?
and they deserve to be paid commensurately with physical artists. But at the same time, there is that inherent weirdness to it because it's totally non-existent in every sense except like one.
Well, and that's if we want to get into this for a second, I come from a family of artists that have sold their art, and one of them was a sculptor and another's a painter. And if you're selling a sculpture, the only way it has real value is if you break the mold, literally break the mold.
Right, so that
So
you can't do it again, yeah.
exactly. And the same with a painting. I mean, because you can duplicate a painting, it's called the giclée, and it can look identical to the paint. Obviously, the texture won't be there, but
Right,
it can look identical to a real painting if it's done on the right type of machine.
right.
So, sort of like a lithograph used to be. And so, how are they going to protect a digital piece of art which has to be displayed?
Blockchain.
Yeah, there's something that's around forever. I guess I'll get my bitcoins out and buy my blockchain artwork. And
Well, the blockchain technology is technically independent of the cryptocurrency. You don't need cryptocurrency to have the blockchain, but in theory, blockchain could be used, and it is being used to make unique to copies of things and whatnot. But yeah, that blockchain, DRM, things of that nature. So
right. Yeah, they're all hackable though, so I don't know. Especially
yeah,
you buy
yeah.
yourself a
So,
$1 million
but
piece
yeah,
of art.
you are right. And uh, the inherently a little bit less uniqueness to it because it can be copied, and the artist
And
still has a copy of it.
And you want him to, because like you said, if there's a different device that's used to be able to display it, they need the original to be able to recreate it. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be a tough one,
Yeah. It's in its infancy still, but it it is coming, and there are people willing to pay a lot of money for it. So
Look, there's some digital
whether
artists
that's a
out
good
there.
idea at this point or not, I'm not entirely sure. But
Right.
there are always people that are willing to throw away good money after bad. So
I've seen digital art on sale online now for a while. I
yeah.
don't know that it's been particularly effective yet.
Right. Well, I think it depends on what website they are using and their own ability to self-market and whatnot.
And
Yeah.
and create the value by
Right.
limiting the amount of pieces, and that
Right.
becomes where it becomes, like I said, you want to sell a piece of sculpture, and it might be a beautiful piece of sculpture, and somebody will give you 20 grand for it, but if you break the mold, now it's 2 million,
Right.
because it can never be reproduced. So
Right.
it's a whole
Right.
different ballgame. So I don't know how they're going to do that digitally, really, at this point.
Yeah. So we will see, though. Speaking of art and AR, the Thanksgiving Day parade used AR provided by Verizon, as they constantly reminded throughout the parade.
Yeah, I think there was a commercial for Verizon more often than there were floats or
Yeah,
people. The
about right.
well,
Remember, Verizon is bringing this to you. Verizon.
right, yeah, and you can get this in 5G. And if you have 5G, you could watch. And if you have 5G, dude,
Yeah.
there's 8 people on the planet that have 5G. What are you doing? It's like
Well, they want to make it 9 people.
I don't know. It seems
But it was cool that they were having AR elements come on the screen, and that they had the code you could scan to be able to watch it in AR in your home, but it wasn't really AR. It was just a 360-degree video that you could hold on your phone. Yeah.
Right. To me,
But still,
really, the problem for me was it was very depressing to see nobody on the street.
yeah.
You know, it's like I'm used to seeing that street lined with the
I
faces, and
know.
to just watch these people walking down the street, it was like, okay, cut to commercial. They were cutting people off in the middle of their act to go to commercial. It was like I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Verizon, you know, it's
Yeah.
like
But they still had it. It wasn't canceled entirely. It was just very weird. But yeah, we only watched like the last 2 or 3 floats. We tuned in late. So
yeah, I tuned in early and I watched the first few, and Al Roker was explaining that you're going to see different weather patterns because we filmed this over a period of several days. It's like, what? Okay, so you're blowing the idea that it's a parade before we're even watching it. You're letting us know this happened. This is a filmed event over several.
yeah, well, that's where the AR could have come in handy. Could have put the same weather pattern on all of the all the videos.
They did do floats in AR though, just recently.
Yeah.
And they could have done, but that's just it. They could do the entire parade in AR. You don't have to be anywhere in a studio. It's like Hunger Games, you know, just have Katniss standing in front of that back screen and, you know, here's Verizon presenting the next float.
Right. And have it dissolve into existence.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, speaking of more AR stuff, Mandalorian AR
5G
on Google, exclusive to Google 5G devices and select non-Google 5G devices. So basically, Google Pixel phones that are 5G and other 5G Android phones can download the Mandalorian AR, which, from what I heard of it, is more or less just an AR sticker app.
Right. I was going to say I have the Star Wars AR, all that stuff, and basically just sticks a stormtrooper in your living room. Hold, you know. Oh, okay, great. That was fun the first time, but second time it loses it, and by the third time, who cares? You know?
Yeah. And I mean, I get that all these people are trying to sell 5G, but no one's going to buy a 5G device just to get the Mandalorian AR.
Considering,
well, I had to take that back. The same people that would spend $380,000 on an AR painting might do that.
Correct. See, I was going to correct you, but you corrected yourself, so I'm proud of you.
But normal people are probably not going to do that.
Oh yes, let me get the 5G version for the extra $200 so I could see the Mandalorian standing in my living room.
Doing nothing.
Doing nothing. Okay.
Except shooting the cat. Now that would be funny if it could make it so that it could track the house cats as they walk through and have the Mandalorian go.
Yeah, no, that would be. I'd buy a 5G phone if they could do that.
So, in more serious news, SideQuest has joined the Kronos group in supporting and bringing OpenXR to the masses.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see when that happens.
Yeah, a lot of people are back in OpenXR. It still hasn't quite arrived, but we'll see. I mean, I like the promise of it. And I know Oculus has officially said they are supporting OpenXR and whatnot, but I don't know that we've really seen anything using it yet. So
I don't know. You know, the thing is, as AR and VR go to the glasses, real glasses, then OpenXR sort of becomes meaningless.
Well, no, depending on the uh, device capability, it could, in theory, to translate to the AR as well. Just like if you're using VR kit to develop a game, it's got the hooks and the controllers and everything for all the devices, well, all the platforms.
Mm-hmm.
All they need to do is throw in generic AR stuff, and it detects it on an AR platform, and it automatically switches to the AR controls, and in theory.
I was going to say, people can't even tie their controllers to correct function on several platforms. So it's a nice theory, but they have to work it out.
Well, yeah, speaking of which, I still remember playing Police Response.
Oh, God. Yeah.
VR. And my hands are out like this in reality, but in the game, my hand is up at this angle. So if I want to shoot, I've got to go.
Yeah. Yeah, not great. Not great. I know a lot of people
I
say,
am shooting you.
right.
And breaking my wrist at the same time.
Hold still. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Let me aim this properly. Oh, too late. You already killed me. Okay.
My partner will avenge me, though, says my ghost.
Something like that. But yeah, there are way too many games that, I mean, even native Oculus PC ones, where the hands are held up and misaligned.
Right. Well, but
Yeah.
you have that problem with the controllers too, misaligning your hand sometimes. So it's.
Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, that I know what you mean on that front. But it is. People are working on getting that better, obviously. So, and every day in every way, it's getting better and better, as Emil QA likes to say.
Oh wow, we about to break into Kumbaya or
No,
okay, good.
it's just affirmations.
Our daily affirmation. By the way, I was reading an article the other day that was talking about the new design, like the unofficial Elite strap backing piece.
Right.
Which was,
The 3D printed one.
no, actually, you can buy it. It's already.
Okay.
It's made. It's like $40, I think, and you add it on to the regular strap, and it turns it into an Elite strap. And the one thing the guy did say was none of the controller grips that can claim to be for the Quest 2 are for the Quest 2. None of them. He said, do not buy any of them yet. So that was
that
pretty.
Manufacturer or from any manufacturer?
Any, he said, AMVR, Kiwi, all of them. None of them were designed for the Quest 2. Some of them are marketing it as still being for the Quest 2. They're not. Don't believe it. So even Mammoth, who's saying that they're for the Quest 2, they're saying no, nothing.
Okay, and they're basing this on
trying them.
Okay, and did they have a video showing or what?
No, they just said that they've been trying the different products that are coming out, and they specifically mentioned that on Amazon there's like 4 or 5 different companies you've never heard of mentioning these covers and controllers.
The reason I'm asking is because there were also people saying that there was a jailbroken Quest 2.
Right.
So people are saying doesn't necessarily mean it's real.
Right. Well, what I did see, though, was some guy take the Quest with the Elite battery strap and throw it down the steps, and it was fine. So it seems to be if you rip it off your head without loosening it, that seems to be the problem, not the actual build of the strap.
Because VR Cauldron tried that, and he was like, okay, and he lifted it off that way a few times, and he lifted it off that way a few times, and did that like 20 times a piece or whatever, and
Still didn't break.
Fine.
Right.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying. Maybe it was just a batch that was bad.
Yeah. I think it boils down to a batch, maybe a couple batches that were bad.
Right.
Because there's also supposedly the bad ones have printing that the others don't, or they don't have printing that the others do, or so who knows? All that I know is that my Elite strap is working just fine, but I'm also taking care just to be on the safe side to not stress it too much. I'm not over tightening, and when I go to take it off, I'm just screwing it first and then taking it off.
Right.
So
yeah, it seems to be the way to go at this point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it can't hurt to be careful with it anyways. So anyways, our last bit of news. Yes, we are at the end of the show almost, and it's only been an hour and 3 minutes.
No, something's wrong. Something's very wrong. Too close to being on time.
It was the 155th anniversary recently of Alice in Wonderland's publication. So Cortopia shared some unpublished game art on the Oculus blog, and they started their Black Friday pricing for the game early.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
20% off, I think it was, or 30. It was a big,
yeah.
It was a decent sale.
But yeah, it's kind of hard to believe sometimes that it's been around 155 years, almost as long as our country has been around.
Right? Yeah, that is kind of amazing, and still relevant, and still holding people's attention. And
Yep. It just goes to show a mathematician and a logician can be a great writer.
It does. Well, just look at J.R.R. Tolkien. It goes to show you a linguistic professor can be a great writer. Yep. Who would think?
Yeah. Well, some of them aren't.
99.
I know some.
I was going to say the only one that is good is Tolkien that I know of. So, but he really.
Oh no, there's a podcast I listen to called All Things, or no, it's called Lingthusiasm, and they one of the hosts has a book out. What was it called? What About Internet, or something like that, and it's about internet linguistics. And from everything that I've heard, it's been well received and is well written and all that, but it's not a fiction book. It's a popular linguistics book,
Gotcha.
So, but yeah. So, on that note,
yes, we've really reached the end of the show so quickly.
Yes.
I'm so glad we had this time together.
Something like that. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good morning, and good night. No. Make sure to drag your friends over to like and subscribe, and then you like and subscribe as well, and we will help this channel grow, and maybe be able to get stuff that we can pass on to you in the form of keys or something at some point. That would be awesome.
It would be. We'd love to be able to give away.
And then maybe we could quit our day jobs and just do this full time.
Wow. We could do this full time. We do this full time. We were talking for an hour before we got on the air, and we'll be on the phone for another hour.
It wasn't an hour before we got on there, but yeah, we were talking some,
yeah. Not that we're too into VR, but
he thinks it's an hour. I'd say it was only 5 minutes. No.
Time does strange things here. These windows keep coming, and people pop in and out, and
Yes. We actually started recording this 2 hours from now.
It's a weird world. Welcome to 2020, folks. Welcome to 2020.
Yeah. Have a great weekend. Well, great last half of your weekend by the time we upload this. Have a great rest of your week. And make sure to let us know if you took advantage of any of the Black Friday sales on Oculus, Quest, Steam, wherever.
I just saw a sale coming through on Vive too, so keep your eyes out. And
Yes, and I forgot to mention the Vive Cosmos sale, $100 off or whatever. I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it. They could give me $800 off, and I still wouldn't recommend it. But anyway,
On that note, bye. Have fun.
bye.